What's up, everyone? Welcome to the May 11th edition of FanDuel Tournament Plays presented by PrizePicks. I'm your host, Adam Scherer. You can follow me on Twitter at ShipMyMoneyDFS. And as a reminder, you get one free month of Awesemo plus Platinum when you sign up and make a deposit at PrizePicks. Be sure to use the code Awesemo to receive a 100% first deposit bonus up to $100. Only a 7-game MLB slate tonight. One game does have some weather concerns, and I'll mention that as we go through this video as well. So a little bit smaller slate means more concentrated ownership on the popular plays. But as always, it's just a game of trying to find under-owned spots. So we're going to take a look at 3 of the top tournament stacks and 3 of the top tournament pitchers on FanDuel using the top stacks and top pitchers tool on the Awesemo.com website. Starting with the top 3 stacks, the Atlanta Braves are projected for about 5% aggregate ownership with a 6% chance of being the top scoring stack. They have a difficult matchup tonight against Nathan Eovaldi, but they do have a 4.3 implied run total, and they have a lot of power in their lineup. They've been a league average offense overall this season with a 99 WRC plus. They've also struck out a lot with a 25% strikeout percentage, but they have a 169 ISO, which is one of the higher marks in the league. And just looking up and down their lineup, they have plenty of hitters with track records of being, good major league hitters. They also have Ronald Acuna back, who missed the beginning of the season, so that makes their lineup more potent as well. Whenever the Braves aren't getting much ownership, I don't care too much about the matchup. I just want to get to them in tournaments because of how good their hitters are and how much upside they offer. Number 2, the Boston Red Sox, projected for 5% ownership with a 7% chance of being the top stack. They're taking on Ian Anderson tonight in Atlanta. Anderson is certainly not a bad pitcher, and the Red Sox offense has been absolute garbage so far this season, but they do have at least some pedigree in their lineup that makes you think they're going to get better. Obviously, Rafael Devers is very good. Kike Hernandez, we know, can do damage. Same goes for JD Martinez, Xander Bogaerts, Verdugo, and Story. So I think that even though this is a weaker lineup for Boston than we've seen in recent seasons, I do expect that you see them take a nice step forward from the 80 WRC plus that they have so far this season. Like I said, they are facing Anderson, who has not been great so far this year. 17% strikeout percentage, 14% walk percentage, 4.69 xFIP. He has had success, previously in his career. I expect him to get better going forward, but it is worth noting that he has certainly struggled out of the gate this season. And number 1, the Kansas City Royals, another offense off to a very slow start with a 79 WRC plus, but they're projected for 9% ownership with a 10% chance of being the top scoring stack. They're taking on what is likely to be Matt Bush as the opener and Matt Moore as the long reliever. Moore has struck out 25.5% of hitters this year, but he's also walked 20%. He has a 4.43 xFIP. And Kansas City is always an interesting team in tournaments, especially if they can get on base, because it's not so much about playing for home runs with them, but they have a lot of speed in this lineup, and they're certainly willing to steal bases. So with somebody like Moore that does walk a lot of hitters, typically that's actually not something that I like targeting too much in tournaments, because 2 points or 3 points on FanDuel is obviously not what's going to win you tournaments. But with so many guys in Kansas City's lineup that are looking to run, if they get on base, you can rack up points that way as well. Now, looking at the top 3 tournament pitchers, number 3, Jose Urquidy, $7,600 price tag, projected for 3% ownership with an 8% chance of being the top scoring pitcher. He's taking on the Minnesota Twins tonight in Minnesota. Overall this season, Urquidy has not been great. He has a 14.7% strikeout percentage, 4.59 xFIP. But I do expect that strikeout percentage to come up just based on what we've seen from him in the past. Minnesota's offense has been good this year, 113 WRC plus for the Twins so far, a relatively high 23.5% strikeout percentage, however, and Urquidy is just inexpensive and not getting much ownership. Number 2, Tyler Mcgill, $10,000 price tag, projected for 6% ownership with a 9% chance of being the top pitcher. He's taking on the Washington Nationals, who do have a relatively low 20.1% strikeout percentage, but a 98 WRC plus. And when you look at their lineup, it's not particularly scary. You have Juan Soto, who we know is one of the best hitters in baseball. Josh Bell and Nelson Cruz certainly can do some damage. But outside of that, it's a relatively weak lineup, and Mcgill is one of the more talented pitchers on the slate. He has a 27.7% strikeout percentage this year compared to only a 6.2% walk percentage, and he has an excellent 2.76 xFIP to go along with that. And number 1, Miles Michaelis, $9,600 price tag, so $400 less expensive than Mcgill, taking on the Baltimore Orioles tonight in St. Louis. Michaelis is projected for about 7% ownership with a 9% chance of being the top scoring pitcher. Baltimore has a 3.9 implied run total. And Michaelis has struck out about 20% of hitters this year. He's not a great strikeout pitcher, but he's pretty good at getting weak contact, and he doesn't walk a lot of hitters, only a 5% walk percentage, 3.69 xFIP. Baltimore has been hitting a bit better lately. They've gotten their WRC plus up to 97. It had been one of the lowest in baseball previously, but they also have a 24.5% strikeout percentage this season. And as long as Michaelis can kind of navigate his way through the top 5 hitters in this lineup, he should be able to have plenty of success against the bottom of the order. So to recap, the top 3 tournament stacks: number 3, the Atlanta Braves; number 2, the Boston Red Sox; and number 1, the Kansas City Royals. And the top 3 tournament pitchers: number 3, Jose Urquidy; number 2, Tyler Mcgill; and number 1, Miles Michaelis. And one other point that I forgot to mention when I talked about him, but Urquidy is in the game that it's the lone weather concern on this slate. There could be some rain tonight in Minnesota, so just keep an eye on that and adjust accordingly.